How y'all doing? Welcome to episode 10 of the Wrestle Zone show. Sorry it's been so long since I've done an episode. Kind of slacking off in that department. Anyways, bringing up to the latest wrestling news. They had WrestleMania 36 on April... Well, it was over 2 nights. But anyway. It was pre-taped because of all this virus bullshit. The highlight was definitely The Undertaker versus AJ Styles in a Boneyard match, which, if you are not familiar, is a match in a graveyard. It really played out like a horror movie, and that's honestly the only match I bothered to watch. And did not disappoint, I gotta say. Not only was that likely the match of WrestleMania, probably gonna end up being a good chance it could be the match of the year. Undertaker still has it, but he's not going to wrestle much longer, I don't think, because really, what else does he have left to prove? He's done it all. I mean, if you look up his victories, his total victories, he's got over 1,700 wins total. That's televised matches, untelevised matches, everything. That's pretty good, with only 400-something losses. So, he's got the most wins at WrestleMania with 25, obviously. Most wins at Survivor Series with 13. Most wins at SummerSlam with 10. And I'm not sure what the rest of the pay-per-views are, but I know he's got at least 7 wins inside the Hell in a Cell. But He's definitely the all-time legend. He's definitely the best of the best. I mean, that's why I get annoyed when Michael Cole says, "Oh, John Cena's the greatest of all time," and it's like, he's up there, but the fact of the matter is, if Rock hadn't gone to Hollywood, if Brock Lesnar hadn't left in 04 when he did, if Goldberg didn't leave in 04 when he did, and if he had been booked better, John Cena would have got lost in the shuffle. There's very little doubt about that. But not just WWE news, but I'm gonna talk about All Elite Wrestling too. And but before I get to that, WWE released several superstars recently, including Luke Gallows, Anderson, Zack Ryder. Not really surprising. The way he's been booked, I'm surprised he didn't ask for his release a long time ago. Kurt Hawkins, again, not surprising. There were several other superstars, Sarah Logan, that were released. I mean, a lot of the stars that were released were ones that WWE is just not booking well anyways. So, there's really no point for them to be there. Another thing WWE's got to let go of is when they release somebody, they give them a 90-day no-compete clause. Well, the wrestlers still have to pay freaking bills and eat for those 90 days, so you might want to waive that no-compete clause. Because it's kind of pointless to release them and then freaking tell them what you want them to do. It's like, you released them, that's the end of it. And another thing they got to stop with is bringing back wrestlers that they've released, like Jinder Mahal. Okay, he wasn't that great to begin with. Okay, so why keep releasing these guys if you're gonna bring them back? It's like, it's really scraping the bottom of the barrel is what it is. And WWE is not the end-all be-all. They may think it is, but it's not. There's plenty of other wrestling promotions out there. New Japan Wrestling's still around. New Japan Pro Wrestling, I should say. Impact Wrestling's still around, believe it or not. From what I've seen, they're actually doing all right. But Ring of Honor's around. There's several other promotions, obviously. All Elite's, of course, the newest one. But they're doing pretty good. It's taking some getting used to watching the shows without any fans. But hopefully they'll get back to it soon the right way. They're blowing this virus thing out of proportion, but that's a story for another day. Another thing I want to address is that yeah, that's right, Eric Rowan was released from WWE too. Yeah, so WWE's doing Money in the Bank, the Money in the Bank pay-per-view this coming Sunday, I believe. I guess they said both of the Money in the Bank ladder matches are going to be going simultaneously. I'm not really sure how that's going to work. I know if you're going to cut back and forth, between matches. I don't know. They didn't really explain that too well. But it's going to be on top of the roof of the WWE headquarters in Connecticut, I think it is. So that should be interesting, at least. And then there is a documentary about the Undertaker series that's going to be starting Sunday night as well. So you can bet I'll be watching that. As you see, I'm wearing one of my Undertaker shirts. My more recent shirt that I got came out last year. It's a Undertaker and Roman Reigns shirt. The Graveyard Dogs from when they tag team together actually worked pretty well together. When they faced, I think it was Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. Yeah, Drew McIntyre was another one they brought back. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I haven't been really watching Raw and SmackDown because like I said, it's all right now. It's all pre-done, like it was in like the late '90s and stuff like that. So it's like. I mean, I can watch All Elite because the other wrestlers will act as fans, like around outside the ring and stuff like that. So they're actually keeping it interesting with their segments. I don't know how the rest of the wrestling promotion's doing it. I don't even know how Impact Wrestling is doing it. Of course, they always wrestle in small arenas anyway, so it's whatever, I guess. I guess in addition to the Undertaker, Big Show's probably not going to go much longer. He wants to retire in front of fans, obviously, when he does, so he's probably going to retire in the near future. So should Kane. Kane, his real name is Glenn Jacobs. He is the mayor in Knoxville, Tennessee, believe it or not. He ran for mayor and he won. So, I can't imagine he's going to be in the ring much longer. I mean, not with his political duties. But people liked him enough, or he won the nomination and he won for mayor, so whatever. I think the Undertaker was actually at one of his rallies or whatever, popped up at one of his rallies or speeches or whatever, if I remember right. Another thing, I can't imagine John Cena is going to go much longer either, because he's getting more popular in Hollywood. He's doing more shows, he's doing more movies, he's doing commercials, and it takes up time to do that. So it's like, he'd make more money than you would in wrestling, that's for sure. Especially since he was in the movie obviously got delayed for release, but he's in Fast and the Furious 9. So that shows you how popular John Cena is becoming in Hollywood. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm a big fan of the Fast and the Furious movies. I even have the original 1955 Fast and the Furious movie. Yep, look that up. Well, don't expect what you see in the newer ones, but you know, accept it for what it is. Classic hot rod movie, then you'll like it, I'm sure. Let me see. Undertaker's been in a few movies too, but not a lot. He should do more, in my opinion. See, I didn't see it, but I see Triple H came back on SmackDown. There's talk of him wrestling soon. I've actually heard he actually may wrestle Shawn Michaels. That may be a bit of a stretch, because last time Shawn Michaels came out of retirement, he said it took a lot out of him. I mean, yeah, obviously he likes the big paycheck, but he doesn't really need it. And then, top of that, I mean, there's no reason for him to do it. I mean, I like seeing these guys too, but when you bring these guys out of retirement and they're out of shape, like don't get me wrong, Goldberg's cool, but he just doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't move very fast. He's out of shape, and it's hard to. I mean, I caught that actually when I watched the Undertaker AJ Styles Boneyard match. I actually caught that Goldberg Strowman one at WrestleMania, and well, it was what you could imagine. But yeah, Goldberg, I don't know why he keeps coming back. I mean, I get that he said a few years ago that he wanted his youngest son never saw him wrestle, and I get that. I get all that, you know. But I mean, honestly, if he'd work out a little more, get in better shape, he'd probably be, you know, move around a little better. But yep. So it is what it is, I guess. Another thing I don't like is the way some wrestlers are booked. I'm sure you know what I mean there. Best way to put that is Braun Strowman. Way he's been freaking booked. Well, let's see. He first popped up in what, 2015, around there, because he wasn't always with Wyatt. He is the guy that joined the Wyatt family later. So the way he's been booked past, 5 years hasn't been really great. It hasn't been, the fiasco it was with Bray Wyatt himself, obviously, but hasn't been really great. They could be booking him a lot better. If you're booking him as this, monster, then he shouldn't be, honestly, shouldn't be losing that much. Or, having bad matches with, like, jobbers. Speaking of Bray Wyatt, that's another thing. Okay, I like his new thing as the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, but that Funhouse goofy crap, that needs to go. I mean, that's just stupid. It's like, I get what they're trying to do with it, like a Jekyll and Hyde thing, but, pick one or the other. If you're going to have him be the smiling guy, then have him be the smiling guy. If you're going to have him be the Fiend with the mask, have him be the guy with the mask. And honestly, that's better. But honestly, Bray Wyatt was fine when he came up. It's just he was booked like shit. And what happened was WrestleMania 30, he faced Cena. Okay, should have won. He didn't. He lost that whole big feud with Cena, John Cena, in 2014. That's what derailed his any momentum that he had. So when people, a year later when he faced Taker at WrestleMania 31, And people say, oh, he should have gone over on Taker. It's like, there's no point. He cut some good promos, yes, but nobody thought he was a legit threat. Not when you're losing every damn match up until that point. That doesn't make any sense. Now, was it a good match? Yeah, sure. It was fun, but even though Bray Wyatt got injured doing the rehearsals, so the match wasn't as great as it could have been, but it was still good. But the way Bray Wyatt was booked, and that's honestly, his character was still better than what it is now. I mean, like I said, I like him as the Fiend with the mask, but because he's not sticking with that, and it's that other fun smiling guy's the other half of it, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I'm sure some of you like it, but I don't. It's like, hey, if you're gonna have him be the scary guy, you know, then go with that. But it doesn't make sense to do both. It really doesn't. See that Sasha Banks appeared to dye her hair again, so that's interesting. And Becky Lynch is still doing well in the women's division, of course. Trying to think. I can't remember. I'm sure you getting to moving over to All Elite Wrestling. I'm sure you know that what was now Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley, and All Elite. And the nice thing about that is he's able to do things he wasn't able to do in WWE because WWE is too watered down. But you're seeing, you know, him do it his way in All Elite, which is good. You saw flashes of what in WWE, like for example that Asylum match. So you saw flashes of it, but you didn't see what he could do with it. Now you're seeing what he could do with it. Same with Jericho. I mean, Chris Jericho. I was never really a fan of Chris Jericho, but I gotta tell you, in All Elite, he's like a whole different person now. Little bit of the bubbly. Cuts great promos. Of course, Cody Rhodes, or Cody, as I guess he can't use his last name in All Elite for some reason. I like that guy, Darby Allin. He's pretty good. The guy, he needs to lose the skateboard, but other than that, you know, he's fine. Kenny Omega is an All Elite. I'm sure you remember him from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Everybody said he was going to go to WWE, and he didn't. And sorry about that. Luke Harper is now Brody Lee in All Elite Wrestling. That's another one that WWE dropped the ball on. Lots of talent, but didn't book him right. Then it got to the point where you hardly saw him at all. So at least it looks like he's doing all right now. I mean, he just got there, so that remains to be seen. But I'm sure he'll do fine. The only thing I can tell you about All Elite that needs work is the women's division. They need to get more women wrestlers. They got some good commentators though. They got Jim Ross, good old JR. I mean, he's a little slow at times because, you know, he's getting older now. He's got that cerebral palsy in his face, but he still does all right. And they got Taz, who was originally in ECW. Yeah, they actually, I'm sure you remember, a lot of you remember, they brought ECW back in 2006, but it wasn't, anywhere near what it was before. It was still called Extreme Championship Wrestling, but you didn't get that many extreme matches, believe me. As I watched it, and I eventually lost interest in it. I mean, you got a few good matches, but most of it was just, basic singles matches, basically. Which is too bad. But, one thing I don't like about WWE is they'll take a wrestling company like that, and then they'll just, they'll buy the rights and then they'll just shut everything down, they'll close it. It's like they did with WCW. They rushed that Invasion thing. They screwed it all up. Screwed it up on the booking. All the wrestlers that came over from WCW were booked like shit. And it was just a mess. And honestly, it still is, because they're still taking shots at WCW, and it's like, man, the company is out of business. Let it go. It's like, you did the company in, okay? You won the ratings battle. Just let it go. But they don't. It's like WrestleMania 31, prime example of that. Sting versus Triple H, okay? Everybody wanted Sting versus The Undertaker. Everybody. I don't care who you were. Everybody wanted that match. So not only do you not give us that match, you give us Sting versus Triple H. And the smart thing to do would have been put Sting over. But no. You gotta bring that ratings thing back into it and give Triple H the win. Honestly, that's what killed that WrestleMania right there. Because I like Triple H, but that was a dumb move. That's why Sting was afraid to come to the WWE in the first place, because he saw how his buddies were booked when they came over from WCW. And he was right to think that. But that's why we never got Sting versus The Undertaker. And Sting, believe it or not, Sting still wants that match. That's why there's this surgery that he was supposed to have that he never had. Because he still wants that match. Whether it'll happen? Probably not. But, it's just too bad, because it would have been a great match, those two, because they have similar styles. And they're both the best at what they are. I mean, Sting's one of the main guys that kept WCW going, doing that. And The Undertaker kept WWE going, or WWF at the time, because everybody else was jumping ship to go to WCW or whatever. And Undertaker could have gone, but he never did. And not only did he do that, he could have said, back then he could have said, well, I want to be champion, I want to do this, I want to do that, but he didn't. He helped put people over like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Mick Foley. He helped all these guys. He could have been selfish. He could have been a 20-time champion by now, if he wanted to. But Undertaker is not like that. Nobody gives back to the business more than this guy. And he's helped a lot of people. It may not seem like that way, because everybody's, got the cameras on, seeing it with this Make-A-Wish stuff and all that. But, Undertaker does that stuff too. He just doesn't, put it out there on camera. But, he does things like that too. But, that's what kept both those companies going against each other. Was if you if you go on the WWE Network and you watch the Monday Night Wars, there's a episode on just Sting and The Undertaker. And they talk about what they did for the companies during that time. That's why, Vince crowned Taker the king of the locker room. That's why when there was Wrestler's Court, which is like a kangaroo court they would set up to deal with certain things, Undertaker was often the judge. And the sentence was usually buying him some Jack Daniels. As funny as that sounds, it's true. But yeah, there's a wrestle culture video that talks about some of the Wrestlers Court that happened. I've watched it a couple times. It's alright. But yeah, Taker never strayed when all these other guys, even Shawn Michaels, asked for his release in the late 90s at one point. So he could have gone to WCW or another promotion. He could have, gone to management, said he, wanted this, wanted that, but he didn't. That's why he has almost completely creative control over his character. And he's at the point now where he picks who he wants to wrestle. If he picks you as an opponent, be thankful. Because of all the wrestlers out there, he picks you. He says he wants to work with you. Pay attention. So that's like, if Dale Earnhardt was still alive, for example, and he said he wanted you on his race team, you don't say no to that. Or if you look back in the late 40s, early 50s, and Hank Williams said he wanted to record a duet with you, you don't say no to that either. But that's why the Undertaker's the man. That's never going to change. And each time he steps in the ring, even if he's just talking, people pay attention. I mean, I know some of the newer fans, they don't appreciate him because they don't know what he did for the company. They don't know, all the great matches he's put on, all the promos he's done, and stuff like that. There's something to be said for the way he delivers a promo where he goes, "Rest in peace." And I actually did that pretty good. But because he delivers those dark promos like you're watching a horror movie, and that's what you want with a character like that. But that's why I wanted so badly to see that Undertaker versus Sting match. But it's probably never going to happen. But there's a few matches that could happen if, depending on how many more he actually does. Like, I've heard Demon Finn Balor. That would be good. Of course, Demon Balor versus Demon Kane would be better because if Kane's really going to retire, then have Demon Finn Balor, who's, demon makeup on and stuff, put down Demon Kane. Retire. But, that's not likely to happen, but I'm just saying that's just a for instance. Okay, he already wrestled AJ Styles, so that one's off the board. Heard he might wrestle Daniel Bryan. Well, I don't really see the point of that. I mean, Daniel Bryan's another guy's been there so long. He's held different championships. He's done all kinds of stuff. I mean, even when he had to retire for a little bit, he's still done a lot. So I don't know if that would be a top choice. I'd say Strowman. Of course, that was already supposed to happen. At the time, nobody really wanted it. so I don't know if they would now or not. I don't know if their attitude's changing now or not. I think it really doesn't have like a lot of opponents left except for some of the new guys. I mean, some of these new guys he has interacted with, like Kevin Owens. I mean, there was a segment when Raw went off the air where he tombstoned him, so it's not completely. He actually did the same thing to what's his face, Sami Zayn. Yeah, that was some funny shit. He really freaking thought he could tell Undertaker to get out of the ring. Dumbass. Don't argue with a 7 foot tall guy like the Undertaker. It's not going to end well. Oh, another thing you should know is that the Undertaker, he's into real estate. So I know he owns like a couple of apartment buildings and whatnot. So I'd advise you, if you rent from him, don't be late on your rent, because you may get freaking knocking the door in the middle of the night that you don't want. Pay the rent or you get tombstoned. Or a last ride, or whatever. Oh, speaking of which, he's doing the somewhere in between like the dead man and the motorcycle thing again. So he rode into his WrestleMania match on Harley. It's pretty cool. Yeah, you gotta watch that Boneyard match if you haven't, though. Between him and AJ Styles, it was a hell of a match. And, speaking of which, I want to show you something here. I upgraded the number on this. This is my Undertaker race car that I made. As you can see, the number's 25 now. That's how many victories at WrestleMania that he has. I can't imagine that number's going to go up much higher than that. I don't know how many more WrestleManias he's actually going to do. And another one, getting back to the rest of the wrestling, rest of the wrestlers, another one that I don't like the way they book is that Elias guy. I mean, he seems to lose quite a bit. And never really seems to finish the song that he tries to play, because he's always the guy with the guitar. He's a pretty interesting character, though. But, yeah, he actually had a segment with the Undertaker at, after last year's WrestleMania, where he was in the ring with a guitar, of course, and he said something that you do not say in that situation, and that's because people keep interrupting him in the ring when he's trying to sing a song. So he's like, the next person that interrupts me is a dead man. Well, by saying that, he called out the dead man, and it did not work out so well for him. Yeah, fun night though. Yeah, some of those segments on the Raw following WrestleManias are usually good. I mean, obviously not this year, but and another wrestling related note I'm going to address, even though it's not really wrestling itself, is XFL, the Extreme Football League. Well, I was enjoying that while it was here. I actually picked the Seattle Dragons as my team. But with this virus shit, the company went under. And because they couldn't finish their first season back, and I guess they didn't get any kind of bailout, so that's too bad. Just quite frankly, I'm getting sick of the NFL. So yeah, it's too bad. I feel kind of bad for Vince in that situation, because he poured all that money into it, and people are actually liking it this time. You should have seen the stands were packed. So people were watching these games. I mean, the only thing I will say about the Seattle Dragons is that they had this quarterback for a few games that he couldn't throw for shit. But once they put that other guy in, they were gold. So, but we'll never know now. We'll never know. This company went under, and I doubt they're going to try to bring it back a third time. Maybe they can still do something where they could try to bring it back, but I don't see it. And as far as the NFL goes, I don't. The way the NFL changes the rules every game, it's like it's a waste of time. I've seen my team win championships, the Patriots, so and at this point, it's really nothing to look forward to anyways, so ain't no sense in worrying about it. NASCAR's been doing these like cartoon races. Yeah. Whatever. I'm not stupid enough to watch them, but okay. But they're bringing that back next week. I mean, honestly, a lot of people will probably watch it since because their sports has been shut down for a couple months. So NASCAR is probably actually going to have some fans watch it for at least a little while that are sports deprived. Hell, I might even watch a little bit of it. I don't know. You never know. I mean, yeah, my boy Dale Earnhardt Sr. has been gone since 2001, but not seeing any kind of sports for a couple months will do that to you. So I might fucking check out, a little bit of a race. I doubt I'll watch the whole thing, but I might watch, a little bit of one. I'm not saying I will, but I might. But getting back to wrestling, companies is still doing all right despite not doing it, being able to do live shows. But hopefully it'll get better for them. I mean, 'cause, watching a wrestling show or any kind of sports event without fans takes some getting used to, believe me. That's why, I mean, I've only been watching All Elite lately because that's all I can, without the fans, that's all I can handle. I can't handle like freaking 5 hours of WWE 2 without any fans. That's why I couldn't watch the whole hours of WrestleMania because, you don't really realize how much the fans add to the show until they can't, attend. It's just like, I'll give you another example. It's like, if you watch Beavis and Butthead, okay? Now, they would critique music videos. You don't realize how much that adds to the show until they're not there. And because they couldn't get rights to all those songs, when they released them on DVD and whatnot, you're just getting the episodes, which, is fine. It's something. But, it's, not what you saw on TV, obviously. And of course, if you get Volume 1 or Volume 3 of the Mike Judge collection, then the episodes are cut up anyway. They're missing a lot of footage. So, you get, makes it even worse. But I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry it's been so long since I've done an episode. I mean, I know I was doing it more frequently. These are going to vary in length. This one, I guess, is going to be about 40 minutes or so. Sometimes it'll be longer, sometimes it'll be shorter, it just depends on what I have to say. I'll try to give you an update soon of what's going on in wrestling. I've actually been wondering where the guy in TNA is, Abyss. I wonder what he's been doing. They actually tried to get him to come to WWE, believe it or not, Abyss. And he was supposed to wrestle The Undertaker. That would have been freaking badass. But Again, it was another one of those matches that just never happened. And speaking of matches that never happened, I think I addressed this before, but back in the early 90s when Undertaker first came up, and then it was called the WWF, Andre the Giant wanted to work with him. And of course Andre was having some health problems then, but he was going to try to get better so he could come back and wrestle. And he told the Undertaker, he's like, I got something for us to do. He's like, I want to work with you, but I'm not going to tell anybody else, because in case they steal my idea. I want this just to be for us. I want this to be for you and me. That's what he told the Undertaker. But as we know, Andre passed away, and that never got to happen. But I tell you, Undertaker and Andre the Giant in the same ring. My God, that would be epic. I mean, I can't even put into words what that would be. And not just Andre the Giant. 2005, they were testing out some house show matches between Undertaker and Eddie Guerrero, and people were liking it. So there was talk of, bringing it to TV and whatnot. But again, Eddie Guerrero died of heart failure at age 38, November 2005. So we never saw that either. We never saw Undertaker versus Eddie Guerrero one-on-one. The closest we got to that televised was a Fatal 4-Way match at Armageddon 2004 between Taker, Eddie, JBL, and Booker T. Of course, that freaking what's his face, that Heidenreich, jumped the Undertaker, ruined the match, of course. But we never got to see those matches. But those are my three Undertaker dream matches right there. Versus Sting, which theoretically could still happen. Andre the Giant, and versus Eddie Guerrero. But we'll probably, the only way you can get those two is in a video game. And believe me, I mean, actually I don't have that many wrestling games. I only have one that I know of, actually. But it's not the same when you wrestle in a game. You even know it's not the same. It's actually seeing it, and I'm sure you know that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed episode 10 of Wrestle Zone. I am going to design a title card for this, because I know a lot of people are going to watch it. So I want to be a little more professional with this one, design a title card. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will be back to see you soon, and I promise I will do these a little more frequently. But anyways, I hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you soon.